Hey guys, welcome back to our second tutorial for Raspberry Pi. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to share the existing Wi-Fi connection of our laptop over to the Raspberry Pi running in a headless or direct access mode as discussed in our previous tutorial. Nevertheless, I'm going to retry the entire tutorial again and show you the process of directly connecting the Raspberry Pi to our PC with only a LAN cable without the need of any router or any display device, and then we'll share the Wi-Fi connection of our laptop and PC over to the Raspberry Pi. So if I want to give, I'll just give a quick pictorial representation of what I mean by that, so that we can have an overview idea of what we are trying to attempt. So I'm going to quickly do a quick configuration. This is the Raspberry Pi, this is the PC, and this is a Wi-Fi router. So the first thing is I'm going to just do a quick mark. So what we're going to do in the first part is directly connect the Raspberry Pi device to the PC using only a simple LAN cable without the need of any extra display device or a router. In the second part of the tutorial, which is today's tutorial, we're going to discuss and also include the overall part of how we can directly use the Wi-Fi of the PC and share that over the LAN cable back to the Raspberry Pi. So, in a scenario could be, for example, we have a router somewhere couple of blocks away from us and we don't have LAN access to the router, but we still want to access the internet from our laptop or PC, and we can use this method in that case. So I'll begin the process again from scratch. I recently downloaded the latest image file from the Debian website, which is the 2014 version, somewhere around over here. 2014 version, yeah. So we just flash this OS file on the Raspberry Pi. First thing, what we're gonna do is we're gonna connect the LAN cable to the Raspberry Pi, and we're gonna connect the other end of the LAN cable to the Ethernet jack of our PC. Once done, we'll now power up the device, which is our Raspberry Pi, and we'll wait for a minute for it to boot up and show the LAN lights over there. So it's showing us the LAN lights, and while we are waiting for that, we should notice that this will show us an unidentified network connection. So if you want to see that, go inside the control panel, inside the network and sharing settings, change adapter settings. Will be something like the LAN adapter showing us as the identifying option. The moment it says unidentified network, we'll then play around the LAN connection. While that is happening, right click this one and make sure either before that or either after that the IPv4 settings are set to obtain automatically. In case these are not there, please configure it again. So we'll wait for that guide to show up as unidentified network. It is still identifying. Yeah, cool. So we now got the unidentified network part. Open up command prompt and type in ipconfig. This shows us two IP addresses. The first part is for the local LAN connection. The IP4 address stands for the local area connection, and the second one is for the IP4 address stands for the wireless network connection, which we don't require right now. We are concerned with the local area connection IP address, which says at 169.254.39.68. We'll make a note of that somewhere. I'm going to say 169.254.39.68. This is the IP address of our PC, and I'm going to call it A. Now what we'll do is we'll simply hard power off the device. We'll take out the SD card from the Raspberry Pi, plug into our PC, and append the command line.txt file within the SD card. So we'll do that real quick. I'm going to continue and open up the SD card. Open up the command line.txt file only in Notepad++ or Edit++. Please do not use, as mentioned, the default Notepad or WordPad. Now in the end, we're gonna append IP equal to 169.254.39. The existing IP address of the PC is 169.254.68.39.68. So we're gonna append 3 more digits to the last IP, say 71, and call it like 169.254.39.71, and this is the new fixed IP which we are assigning to the Raspberry Pi. So we'll copy this IP address and save it inside the command line or text file 169.254.39.71 and save this file. Now we'll close the memory card, eject it from the PC, and connect it back to the Raspberry Pi. So we're going to remove the memory card, right eject, goes out, take out the SD card, plug it back in the Raspberry Pi. Now before you power on the Raspberry Pi, make sure that the LAN connection to the Raspberry Pi and the PC are connected. Now we'll power on the Raspberry Pi. It will boot up, and after a couple of seconds it will take up the LAN connection, and once it starts booting up, we can now see that the local area connection is again identifying the IP address of the Raspberry Pi, which in this case will take up as the fixed IP address which we have given in the command line.txt file. We'll give it a couple of seconds to show us as unidentified network. It usually takes anywhere from 60 to 120 seconds. Cool. It now popped up as the unidentified network. So open command prompt by typing in command and type in ipconfig, just to make sure that you still have the same IP address present for your local connection, which is 68 for the PC. Now open a putty connection and type in the IP address of the Raspberry Pi, which is 169.254.39.71. 169.254.39.71. Hit this one, and there you go. You now have shell access to the Raspberry Pi. So since this is a new OS, it asks us to configure the Raspberry Pi by running in the sudo raspi config command. I'm going to show one more thing before we complete the first part and move on to the second part of sharing the Wi-Fi of the PC. I'm going to simply kill this connection. We're going to start Xming and see the desktop of the Raspberry Pi on our laptop. Make sure Xming is running back in the background over here. Open up the putty connection. Before you open up the IP address of the Raspberry Pi, navigate inside the SSH section and select the accept option. Make sure the enable accept and forwarding checkbox is selected. Now go back to the session and open up the Raspberry Pi over here, 169.254.39.71. Enter the username as Pi and default password as Raspberry. Now what I'm going to do is say LXSE like session and hit enter. You're going to show us a couple of warning messages over here, and then you're going to pop up the entire desktop of the Raspberry Pi itself. So this is what you should probably be seeing on your machines as well. So there is, for some reason, I don't really see the LX panel which is on the top, so you can play around this one. Open up another putty connection. Make sure the SSH is selected, enable external forwarding on, go back to the session 169.254.39.71 and type in Pi Raspberry and type in LXPANEL to bring up the LX panel. Okay, no problem. So I have to figure out this error, but nevertheless you have the complete desktop over here. The reason why I don't see any icons is because in the latest OS of Raspberry Pi they have removed all the icons and replaced it with a single blank screen, and the start menu also has gone to the top part, which we can probably see in this demo. For example, we can kill this guy and only open up the LX panel. Okay, this guy shouldn't come on the bottom, it's supposed to come on the top, but nevertheless. So you can play around the GUI LX panel from your PC itself. So in the first part, what we have done is successfully established the connection between the Raspberry Pi and the PC. In the second part, we'll now share the Wi-Fi connection of the PC over to the router. Now let's close this stuff. We'll keep this running. We'll now talk about the second part of allowing the Wi-Fi of the PC to be shared to the router. So I'll open up my network settings and show that this is my inbuilt Wi-Fi router, inbuilt Wi-Fi chipset that is connected to a Wi-Fi router called as Asrar Wi-Fi. The important thing is you shouldn't be seeing the shade option, but since I share it, you can see it. So simply right click the Wi-Fi connection, hit properties, open up sharing option over here. You will not probably see this option, you'll see it blank. Select the check mark option and you'll see a drop down asking where you want to share with. Since my Wi-Fi is already shared, I don't get the option, but you should be seeing a drop down asking you to share with the local area connection. Please select OK. I repeat again, right click the Wi-Fi modem properties, go into the sharing option, select this checkbox and there will be a drop down where asking you to select or choose from the local area connection. Please select that. Once done, hit OK. And before we close the Raspberry Pi, I'm going to just show a proof that we do not have internet connection currently on the Raspberry Pi. So if we ping www.google.com, it will say unknown host. Okay, unknown host google.com, because there is no internet connection on the Raspberry Pi. So we'll now kill the Raspberry Pi by saying sudo halt and wait for the device to shut down. It shuts down when we only have the red light left. Right, so it's off. Power off the Raspberry Pi. Take out the SD card from the Raspberry Pi, plug in back to the PC and open back the command line or text file. Right, let's open back the command line or text file and so this is the IP address of our Raspberry Pi, the fixed IP address. To this one, add 2 semicolons and append the IP address of the PC LAN adapter, which is 169.254.39.68, the original IP address which we got over here of the PC A. append that by adding two colons and then the IP address. Save this file and eject the SD card. We ejected. Now again take out the SD card from the PC or the card reader, plug it back to the Raspberry Pi and power on the Raspberry Pi. Before you power on the Raspberry Pi, again please make sure that you have the LAN cable to the PC and the Pi connected. Let us power on the Raspberry Pi device. We'll again wait for the local area connection to show us as unidentified network, which will take generally a minute or so. It should come in a couple of seconds. Let's wait patiently. Alright, there we go, unidentified network. Now let us open the SSH connection back to the putty. Type in the IP address of the Raspberry Pi, which is 169.254.39.71. Type in login as Pi, RASPBERY, Raspberry, and let's ping Google. Boof. There you go. So we now have an active internet connection on the Raspberry Pi, which is being shared from our PC. We could probably even say sudo. You can type any wget command, www.google.com. It will now pull back the entire HTML file of the Google web page from the internet. So we now have an active internet connection on the Raspberry Pi, which is being shared from the Wi-Fi of our PC. We'll see one more quick demo by opening up an internet browser from within the Raspberry Pi, X7 enabling on. Open up the Raspberry Pi 169.254.39.71. I'm going to open up. We'll now open up LX panel to just get up the start menu and open up a browser from within the Raspberry Pi and see if that really is working. So let's open up internet, and Epiphany is a new web browser introduced by the Raspberry Pi Foundation a couple of months ago. Let's open up that and see if it's gonna open up a website. I haven't done this before, so I'm doing it for the first time right now, live. So let's open up my website. Wait, let's see what happens. It's loading. Alright, I think I'm gonna wait. It's loading. It is pretty slow. That's not good. I just clicked some link back, so I think it redirected. Let me open back my main home page. Okay, it's loading again. It might be slow. It could either be because we are opening up multiple screens over the Raspberry Pi, or the net connection could itself be inherently slow. But nevertheless, come on, open up. Come on. Okay. Actually, it did open up, but you know, the rendering is not good. Come on, dude. But you obviously won't be using a web browser of the Raspberry Pi. You would be interested in doing software updates or app updates on the shell itself. So this is just to illustrate that you have an active internet connection on the Raspberry Pi. I'm going to give this guy up. I really am not happy with the speed, so I'm going to say LX panel and open up a different, maybe a very dumb browser. Probably it could be something as naive as the Dillo browser. Sounds cute, Dillo. Hey, Dillo, there you go. Yay, there we go. So this is my website. I mean, it didn't render all the HTML stuff, but nevertheless, you can play around with this one. So that's about it. So what we in this tutorial, what we have learned is how do we directly connect a Pi to a PC through a simple LAN cable. And then the second part we discussed how do we use the existing network connectivity of the PC and share that internet connectivity back to the router. Now in my earlier examples I have even tried with an Android hotspot and that also works out of the box with the same method. And probably you can even use a 3G dongle or a net dongle to have the internet shared over to the Raspberry Pi. If you have any questions, you can send me an email at syed@anwarullah.com or visit my blog for more information. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye.